All right, let's shift focus to the men's team. Entering last week, PLU had to win both games to make it to the conference tournament. It started on Tuesday night. PLU hosted Puget Sound. Puget Sound's Jimmy Warhor was ridiculous in the first half of this game. He had 6 threes, finishing the half with 18 points. The weekend before, Warhor had scored 11 total points. He averaged 12 for the season. So I was getting a little antsy. I was getting a little frustrated. I thought this guy that hasn't done much all year long was going to put PLU's season to bed on Tuesday night. But luckily for the Lutes, they had an answer in the first half. DJ, who was great in that first half for the Lutes?
Well, I had the honor of watching Dylan's best half of basketball this season, in my opinion, before I got to enjoy a lovely meal at El Toro. But yeah, he scored 18 points out of his 20 total points in the first half, and as he was kind of going, I was sitting right by Lacey, and I was like, Lacey, Dylan's like, he looks in the zone tonight. And sure enough, he was. He went a total of 8 for 13 from the field, 4 for 6 from downtown, but no made free throws. Another great performance from that game, in my opinion, was Lester doing as he always does, with 22, 7 for 12 from the field, 6 for 10 from deep, but only 50% from the line. And that was something I noticed in the UPS game. You guys only shot 47% from the line. Drew.
Okay, so Brandon did something he has never done in 4 years here against Puget Sound. He missed a pair. Brandon Lester, in his career at PLU, has never missed 2 free throws in a row.
Really?
One time.
Ever. And he did it against Puget Sound.
He's
It's
a
like
career
one of those
85.
Sports Center's random stats.
That was a sports a Sports Center random stat for you.
Yeah.
That was good. But yeah.
So, yeah, both squads had 2 huge performances from each side in the first half. Puget Sound walked into the locker room at halftime with a 39-38 lead, but in the second half, PLU was able to pull away from the Loggers. Drew, how'd your team do it?
Well, we made a defensive adjustment, and we made a switch of personnel onto Warher, and who, if you notice by the box score, he didn't score in the second half after having 18 in the first half.
Sweet.
Dylan Foreman did an absolutely fantastic job on Mansacola. He was not able to get going all night. Dylan had him in fits. Post defense was fantastic, and I know Jared only had 8 points. Everyone's like, wow, Jared really underperformed, but Jared Christie pulling down 20 rebounds. We win every game Jared Christie has 20 rebounds, guaranteed.
Sure.
Absolutely guaranteed. And when a team makes 15 threes, when you're shooting 50% from beyond the arc, you're going to win a couple games. So, I mean, everything kind of came together in the second half. It's the most fun I've had playing basketball, and if you guys were there, I was jumping out of my shoes. I was having so much fun.
Yep.
That game was a blast.
Like you said, Drew, the team went 15-4-30 from 3. The Lutes held a 62-53 lead with 6:40 left in the game, and then PLU ripped off 4 straight threes to put the game way out of reach.
32-8 run. We went on a 32-8 run.
Jeez. Yeah, that's a bit. That'll do it. That'll win games right there.
I literally didn't think Kyle was ever going to miss.
Yeah, it was fun. PLU beat Puget Sound 75-63, setting the stage for Friday night. Both PLU and Linfield had to win to make it into the Northwest Conference Tournament. It was a cool night in Olson. Several alumni were in the building for Steve Dickerson's final home game. The student section was packed. It was a really fun environment that I would do anything to have on a consistent basis. But that's another topic for another time.
Whoa.
Mm-hmm.
No,
is.
he's right. We'll talk about that later.
It was.
Don't get me started.
Yeah, for real. It's time to play the game when 8 p.m. rolled around, and Linfield was able to jump out to a huge lead in the first half. DJ, how'd they do it?
So Linfield was 7 for 12 from beyond the arc in the first half. And then PLU kind of struggled, only shooting 33% from the field in the first half. But I think the stat that really sticks out to me in this game is the turnovers. Linfield had 4 and PLU had 14. And points off turnovers, Linfield had 14 and PLU only had 2. So I think that's kind of where the game was won and lost. Drew, you can correct me here because I was not there, but being a basketball, like I played basketball, so I kind of know something.
Your opinion is 100% valid. You
Yeah,
played
14
you played
to 4.
4 years of basketball at a very good school.
Yeah.
With very good coaching.
That's incredible that Linfield
only turned the
had
ball over 4
times.
Yeah, their guard play was incredible. Here's the deal. Here's a PSA for all colleges and high schools. Win, so you don't have to win on the most emotional, crazy, get you out of your routine night ever.
Right.
Okay? It is so hard. This is not an excuse. It's so hard to win a game on senior night because your warm-ups get interrupted 5 minutes in.
Yeah.
Then you have to cry your eyes out with your parents, take pictures. Then we have to do this whole ceremony for Coach Dickerson, cry some more, and then go back to warming up for 15 minutes. Then do introductions, then play. Then knowing that if you win, this is like, it's like, if
Everything's
you win,
adding on top of
everything.
each other.
It's like a pile-on game.
Yep.
Win before senior night. Get locked before senior night. Don't make senior night a must-win.
By the way, what is your opinion? I know you've started all season, but what is your opinion?
I haven't, actually.
Well, good majority of the season.
Yeah.
5 games.
What is your opinion on all the seniors starting? Because they did the same thing for my little brothers, and I've never really kind of been a fan of it because I think it just throws everything out of whack. But I'd just like to get your thoughts on it.
It's senior night. It's what you're supposed to do.
Yeah.
That's what's publicly and socially acceptable. Which is a lot of what we're worried about these days. I feel like all 4 seniors are good enough to start, so it didn't really matter in our case. But like
Could
I
you
said,
sense anything was different?
it was much different. But it had nothing to do with who started. It had everything to do with what happened before the game.
How quickly was it until subs were made?
For a while, it was like a regular rotation.
It was a regular rotation. So basically, what happened was Garth became me and subbed out at my rotation, and then I became Dylan. Jared became his position, and basically we just moved the rotation back a step. Everyone moved a position down in the rotation. That's why you saw Tyson, because Tyson usually checks in for me. He checked in for Garth, and then you saw Dylan come in and check in for Kyle, who normally would have come and check in for Brandon at that. You know what I mean? It was that switch, because Kyle usually would come check in for Dylan there. It was just everyone moved back a spot. Okay. It wasn't much different.
Yeah.
So I'm going to jump on that. So you mentioned that Dickerson went with his 4 seniors, and there would have been a 5th if Eric Swartout would have been healthy, hoping he's getting better.
That would have been special.
Yes, it would have been a lot of fun.
That would have been a lot of fun, because then all 5 seniors are good enough to start.
Yeah. Yeah, honestly, I was a little surprised to see that Garth did get the start just because the playoff spot was on the line. That was my take on it.
Completely fair.
But-
completely fair.
But, I kind of figured Dickerson would go business as usual. He didn't. So West ended up being the guy that kept the team alive in the first half. Even though Linfield had a 36-21 lead, Garth pulled down 6 rebounds and had 3 blocks.
He was hosting a block party, and everyone was
Awesome.
invited. Every Wildcat was invited to Garth's block party.
So let's just think about it. Take his 3 blocks away. That's 6 points. It's 42-21, and this thing is over at the half, right? It doesn't seem like that much, but
Yeah.
it's definitely done at the half if they have 6 more points.
I agree. I mean, I don't think you can understate the fact that we were down 24, and with 3 minutes to go, it was 6.
Yeah. West didn't start the second half.
No,
He did not. Okay. We talked about how well Linfield shot from beyond the arc.
Yep.
Okay. They switched. It was either a conscious decision by Linfield coming out of the half, or they noticed Garth wasn't on the floor and they switched. Linfield scored 16 points in the paint through the first 12:51 of the second half.
Yep.
And they held the lead the whole game.
Yes. So 2 guys that didn't score in the first half ended up scoring 15 of those 6. Oh, that doesn't make sense. 15 points in the paint during that time. Okay.
Yep.
West entered the game with 8:22 left. Linfield was up 61-39. In 4 minutes and 34 seconds of work, West pulled down 5 rebounds and 4 points. Lutz pulled it within 15. That still sounds like the game's out of reach. But from there, PLU would go on a run to cut the lead to 10 at 66-56 with 2:20 left. And PLU was forced to foul at the end of the game. Point being, Garth West, when you look at the final stat sheet, his double-double might get overlooked, but I think he had a bigger impact on this game than people might realize. Fair or foul?
That's fair.
Fair. When you're 6'11", can stay in the middle of the key. I mean, yeah, you're going to alter shots. You're going to block shots. You're going to get rebounds. You're that.
Just his presence alone.
You're that. Just your presence alone being in there is good. It's just we go small, and when you have me and Jared guarding 6'8" and 6'7" respectively, and Jared's 6'5", I'm 6'2".
Mm-hmm.
You're going to give up points in the paint, but we are better offensively and better ball movement wise small.
I'm curious to know what defense Linfield was playing. I wasn't able to stay for that game.
Linfield was playing an extended 2-3 matchup zone.
Okay, because
they were playing Syracuse's defense very well.
Something I noticed just trying to pick this game apart and what went wrong is in the first half, you guys were cold. Like, people were not hitting, and your top 3 scorers for the season, Brandon Lester, Jared Christie, and Dylan Foreman, had a combined 6 points in the first half.
We can't go into halftime with Tyson and I having 5 and 6 points respectively, and Jared, Dylan, and Brandon having 6 combined.
Exactly.
That it doesn't work. There should never ever. We would listen. I think it's only happened one time. It happened once this year,
right.
But there should never ever be a game where Tyson and I lead the team in scoring.
I'm gonna cut in. Drew, you talk about the ball movement.
Mm-hmm.
In the first half, was this team patient to a fault? Were you guys
passing
up?
Yes.
You guys were passing up good shots to try and find great shots,
yeah.
and you turned the ball over.
Yeah, because the thing about that matchup zone is they'll go 2-3 matchup zone, but then wherever Brandon goes, they'll turn it into a box and one if we're trying to do something for Brandon, and they'll turn it into a box and one, so they'll just slide everyone over, okay, and they'll take that middle guy out of the zone, make him a guard, okay, they'll take the middle guy out, and the middle guy will just chase Brandon, and so when your offense is get the ball to the little lefty who can shoot, you're kind of stuck. Mm-hmm. And so the point was then we made that conscious effort where you saw me and Jared try to start getting 2 feet in the key and kick and shoot floaters and try to get contact, and that's when we started getting going. But our regular offense wasn't going to work against that, and we just made the adjustment too late.
Yep. Yeah.
But so hats off to Linfield. I didn't know if it was an emotional thing, being senior night, you already hit on that. But it sounds like Linfield just played some good defense.
No, Linfield came in with a fantastic plan and executed it brilliantly.
So did that put Linfield in the playoffs, I'm
yes.
guessing?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes. That is assuming that I think they beat Willamette too, right? They beat Willamette. They had to go beat Willamette before they could play us.
For their senior night.
For their senior night, yeah. They had to go beat Willamette, but that was it. Yep. Yeah, so it was kind of a must-win for us. I mean, I felt like we also kind of had a little big win hangover from Puget Sound too, because we weren't supposed to win that game. You ask anybody, we're not supposed to win that game, and we won it after they just absolutely ran us off the floor at their place. Mm-hmm. And so I just feel like a little big win hangover. Weren't ready for what Linfield was going to bring. So,
all right, Drew, you were part of the whole season. Go ahead and wrap it up for us real quick.
There's no group of guys I would have rather done this with. I've had so much fun this year, going from playing spot minutes to starting at the end. Brandon had an absolute fantastic career. It's been a pleasure to play with him for 4 years. Kyle Sawtell has battled through injuries for his first 2 years here. Came into his own his junior and senior year. So proud of him. Garth was huge, always huge. I mean, it's hard not to be when you're 6'10", 250. And Eric, man, I can't say enough about Eric Squarta. I think it's awful how injured he's been. For a kid who never misses a single workout, never misses a single open gym, puts in all the extra time to get hurt as much as he does, just really isn't fair. But we felt like we gave it our all. We won some games we shouldn't have and lost some games we shouldn't have. But at the end of the day, I think Dickerson was very happy that I think this team put everything they had out there. And, yeah, we weren't as talented as last year. We knew that from the beginning. But we almost put ourselves in the same seed we were last year. So we would love to make the postseason. But, we're happy with how things turned out.
Very cool. All right, stay tuned. We're going to take a short break. But when we come back, we'll talk a little University of Washington men's and women's basketball. Don't go anywhere. This is Mass Radio Sports Talk presented by 3.5 Athletes on Loot Air Student Radio.